The Jedi lied. They preached peace, but hid the darkest powers the Force has ever known. Abilities that could steal life, corrupt the soul, even erase your existence. They didn't just forbid them, they buried them. Covered them up like a secret war they didn't want you to know about. Today, we're pulling the veil off. These are the forbidden powers the Jedi tried to erase. The first forbidden power was Force Drain. They didn't just ban it, they buried every record of it they could find. Because this wasn't just some dark side trick. Force Drain was survival, at the cost of everything else. It allowed a Force user to rip the life energy out of another being, feeding on their strength, their spirit, even their connection to the Force itself. And no one, no Jedi, no Sith ever embodied that horror better than Darth Nihilus. They called him the Lord of Hunger, but that title doesn't even scratch the surface of what he became. Nihilus didn't kill for revenge. He didn't kill for power. He killed because he had no choice. His hunger was so great, so unnatural, that if he didn't consume life, he would cease to exist. And when he fed, it wasn't on individuals, it was on planets. Imagine standing on your homeworld, feeling the Force vanish around you, as every living thing, every animal, every tree, every person simply dissolves into dust. Entire civilizations collapsed into silence in seconds. Nihilus didn't just end lives. He erased them from memory, leaving behind empty, dead worlds drifting through space like grave markers. The Jedi Order knew about him. They saw what Force Drain could do, and they made a decision. They would teach the galaxy that this power never existed. Because if one being could devour a world, how long before others tried to follow? But Nihilus wasn't the only threat. There were other powers the Jedi feared even more. Powers that didn't just destroy the body. They rotted the soul itself. If Force Drain was about hunger, the next forbidden power was about corruption. Force Plague. One of the darkest abilities ever created, and one the Jedi were even more desperate to erase. Because Force Plague didn't just kill, it infected. It twisted living beings from the inside out, breaking down their bodies, their minds, and even their connection to the Force. Entire armies could be brought to their knees without a single battle. Just sickness, madness, decay. The origins of Force Plague are ancient, lost in the dark corners of the galaxy's history. Some say Sith sorcerers during the 100-year darkness first wove the technique, binding disease to the Force itself. Others whisper that Plagueis experimented with versions of it, searching for a way to unmake life as easily as he created it. But what makes Force Plague truly terrifying is that it attacked what made Jedi powerful. It didn't just weaken the body, it clouded thought. It dulled intuition, it severed the living connection between the Jedi and the Force. Imagine a Jedi Knight standing tall, lightsaber in hand, only to feel their strength rotting away, their minds slipping into confusion, unable to hear the Force's guidance, unable to even fight back. By the time they realized they were infected, it was already too late. The Jedi knew there was no defense. They couldn't heal it. They couldn't block it. And so, like Force Drain, Force Plague was struck from the official records, buried under legends and half-truths. Because if the galaxy ever remembered it existed, if another dark side cult ever found the knowledge again, the Jedi Order would be powerless to stop the infection from spreading. But even that wasn't the worst forbidden secret, because some dark powers didn't just kill your body, they could cut you off from the Force forever. If Force Drain consumed life and Force Plague corrupted it, this next forbidden power did something even worse. It erased life's connection to the Force itself. It was called Sever Force, and even the Jedi were terrified of it. Sever Force wasn't just an attack, it was a full annihilation of what made a being alive in the eyes of the Force. The first known users were ancient Jedi Masters. Warriors who faced dark side threats so powerful, so uncontainable, they needed a final weapon. Sever Force allowed them to cut a being off completely, not kill them, not injure them. Imagine a Sith Lord at the height of his power, his lightsaber drawn, the dark side boiling inside him, and then in an instant, silence. No more Force. No more visions, strength, or life beyond the flesh. Just emptiness. Jedi historians whisper that Odan one of the greatest Jedi scholars in galactic history, used Sever Force to end Sith threats during the Great Hyperspace War. Luke Skywalker himself in the New Jedi Order era used a version of Seforce to defeat corrupted beings that couldn't be killed by normal means. But every time it was used, it came at a cost. Because severing someone wasn't just a technique. It was a judgment, a declaration that this soul was beyond redemption, that the only solution was spiritual annihilation, and that weighed heavy even on the wisest Jedi Masters. The Council eventually ruled Seforce too dangerous to be taught, too final, too easy to abuse, because if a Jedi could sever a Sith, what would stop them from severing a rival, or a political enemy? So Seforce was hidden away, locked in the most restricted Jedi archives, spoken of only in warnings and regrets. But even that wasn't the worst fate a Force user could suffer, because some powers didn't just end your connection to the Force, they could resurrect you, using darkness itself. So far, we've seen the dark side destroy life, rot it and sever it completely, but there was another forbidden power, one that did the unthinkable. It could restore life, using darkness. It was called dark transfer, a technique so strange, so dangerous, even most Sith didn't dare to use it. Where Jedi healing relied on peace, harmony, and letting the Force flow naturally. Dark transfer forced life energy where it didn't belong. It could heal fatal wounds, it could bring the dying back from the brink, but it twisted everything it touched. The earliest mentions of dark transfer come from ancient Sith healers, outcasts who believed that life and death were just tools like lightsabers or words. Some records even hint that Darth Sion, the Sith Lord who refused to die, might have used a form of dark transfer to keep his shattered body alive through sheer hatred. But here's the nightmare. The life restored by dark transfer wasn't pure. The healed became wrong. Their bodies lived, their cells repaired, but their spirit changed. It was like stitching together a broken soul with chains of shadow. Some fell into madness, others became walking instruments of pain, still breathing, but hollow inside. The Jedi Council banned any study of dark transfer once they discovered the ancient records. Because if a Jedi ever learned to heal by force, by domination, it would be the ultimate corruption of their core beliefs. Healing was supposed to be an act of compassion, not control. Dark transfer crossed that line completely. It was life stolen from death, a resurrection that shouldn't exist. But as terrifying as it was, the last forbidden power made dark transfer look merciful. Because some Dark Lords didn't just heal themselves, they escaped death entirely. All the forbidden powers we've uncovered, stealing life, corrupting it, severing it, even resurrecting it, they all pale compared to the final one, transfer essence. The ultimate violation of life and death. It's the dark art that allowed a Sith Lord to cheat death itself by stealing a new body. The oldest records trace transfer essence back to ancient Sith sorcerers who believed death was just another illusion to conquer. Using this power, a Sith could project their spirit, their consciousness, out of their dying body and force it into another living being. Not just possessing them temporarily, but erasing the original soul and taking over their body permanently. This wasn't immortality through peace or unity, it was survival through domination. Palpatine, Darth Sidious himself, mastered transfer essence. When his first body was destroyed at the Battle of Endor, his spirit tore across the galaxy, seeking a vessel. He possessed clone after clone, body after body, until even those creations began to rot under the strain of his unnatural existence. But the truth is, Palpatine wasn't the first. Thousands of years earlier, ancient Sith Lords like Emperor Vitiate used similar rituals to extend their reigns far beyond natural lifespans. Some legends even suggest entire empires fell because of dark spirits leaping from host to host, wearing faces the galaxy no longer recognized. The Jedi feared transfer essence more than any other power, because it wasn't just about cheating death. It was about erasing identity itself, stealing bodies, consuming souls, defying the natural cycle of life and the Force, and becoming something unnatural, something immortal but monstrous. And so, like the other forbidden arts, transfer essence was buried, hidden, and denied. But in Star Wars, the dark side never stays buried forever. The Jedi thought they could bury these forbidden powers forever, but darkness has a way of surviving, even when legends fade. If you're ready to dive even deeper into the lost secrets of the Force, subscribe and join me in the next chapter.
You have failed me for the last time.